Hey there. Are you ready to dive into another captivating story from the heartland of America? Today's tale is one of resilience, community, and the profound impact one man's daily ritual had on those around him. This is Knoxville, a town where life moves at a slower pace, and the warmth of its people is unmatched. Our story begins with an elderly widower named George Miller. His face was etched with exhaustion and a deep sadness lingered in his eyes. It was then that George, with his innate understanding of human emotions, decided to break the silence. Each morning they would meet, sharing stories, laughter, and the solace of companionship. The once solitary figure of George was now joined by David, transforming the bench into a symbol of hope and resilience. The bench, once a solitary place of remembrance for George, had become a hub of activity and shared humanity. Children would run up to George, offering him drawings and flowers, while adults would stop by to share their own stories and seek guidance from George's vast life experiences. It had become an integral part of their lives, a constant amidst the ever-changing tides of time. Yet it bore its age gracefully, much like George himself. The plaque on its side, the bench of stories and hope, glistened in the sunlight, a testament to the bench's enduring legacy in the community. If you enjoyed this story, please consider giving us a like and subscribing for more heartwarming tales from small-town America. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. The stories shared on this bench had become a part of the town's folklore, whispered from generation to generation. The memory of George and David lived on, reminding everyone who sat on the bench that even in the quietest of places, the loudest love stories can unfold. The bench served as a silent observer, bearing witness to their laughter, their struggles, and their triumphs. Through it all, their bond only grew stronger, serving as a beacon of hope and resilience for all who knew them. The park, once a place of quiet solitude for George, had become a vibrant space filled with the joyous laughter of children, the chatter of neighbors, and the comfort of shared stories. Their shared stories created a ripple effect, touching the hearts of those around them and leaving an indelible mark on the community. Sit on the old wooden bench and let the stories of George and David fill your heart with warmth and a sense of wonder. For in this small town where the past meets the present, the power of human connection continues to thrive. People passing by would pause, captivated by the sight of an elderly gentleman and a young father sharing stories and laughter on the old bench. It was as if their bond radiated outwards, inviting others to reflect on the power of human connection and the importance of cherishing every moment. George, with his vast life experiences, offered words of wisdom and encouragement, while David, with his youthful perspective, brought a refreshing energy and new stories to share. Their bond deepened with each passing day, transcending the boundaries of age and circumstance. Together, they navigated the complexities of life, finding strength in each other's presence and learning to heal from their past wounds. "You seem a bit tired, son?" he said gently, his voice laced with empathy. The young man looked up, startled by the unexpected intrusion into his thoughts. He hesitated for a moment before finally speaking, his voice cracking with emotion. They had come together to surprise George, honoring him for the positive influence he'd had on their lives. With heartfelt speeches, warm embraces, and tokens of appreciation, they expressed their gratitude for his wisdom, kindness, and unwavering support. George, taken aback by the outpouring of love and admiration, stood with tears in his eyes, realizing that his simple acts of kindness had created a ripple effect that touched the hearts of many. "I don't know if I can do this," he whispered, his eyes downcast. "Do what, son?" George inquired softly, his gaze unwavering in its concern. The young man took a deep breath, as if steeling himself for the task. "Be a good father," he murmured, the words barely audible. "Without her, I don't know if I can be anything." At these words, a wave of sympathy washed over George. He understood the weight of those words, the immense pressure and heartache that came with such a statement. In his own life, he had known the depths of despair and the fear of falling short of expectations. As the young man approached the bench, George looked up, his weathered face breaking into a warm smile. "Mornin', son," he greeted, his voice as soothing as the gentle lapping of the river. The young man paused, his gaze meeting George's with a mix of gratitude and weariness. "Morning," he replied quietly, his voice raspy with fatigue. He sat down on the bench, pulling the stroller closer. George noticed the worry lines on the man's forehead, the heavy sigh that escaped his lips, and the faint tremor in his hands. In that moment, he saw a reflection of his own battles, the pain of loss, the burden of responsibility, and the quiet desperation of trying to navigate life's challenges alone. Without intruding, George kept a watchful eye on the young man and his baby. He knew that sometimes the greatest support is simply being present, letting the troubled soul find solace in the shared silence. George, a man of 78 years, carried himself with the quiet dignity that comes with a life well lived. Every morning without fail, he could be found sitting on an old wooden bench at Riverside Park, lost in the pages of a book or simply enjoying the tranquility of his surroundings. For George, this bench wasn't just a place to sit, it was a link to his past, a tangible connection to his beloved late wife. Helen. George had visited this very bench countless times with Helen by his side. They'd strolled hand in hand along the river walk, shared intimate whispers under the shade of ancient willow trees, and watched the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple. The bench had been their spot, the silent witness to their love story. And even after Helen's passing for years prior, George continued to return. It was as if he could still hear her laughter echoing through the rustling leaves, feel her presence in the gentle caress of the breeze. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let me transport you to the picturesque town of Knoxville, Tennessee. Imagine a place where the days are filled with the sweet smell of freshly cut grass and the Smoky Mountains stand tall in the distance. One particular morning, as a thick layer of fog blanketed the valley and the river flowed serenely below, George found himself drawn into a deep state of contemplation. The familiar surroundings of the park, usually so comforting, seemed to echo with the silence of his solitude. It was on this day that George's life took an unexpected turn, setting in motion a series of events that would redefine his purpose and bring a sense of renewed meaning to his golden years. Suddenly, a commotion broke through the stillness. A young man, no older than 30, was pushing a stroller with a baby inside. As the minutes ticked by, the young man slowly began to relax, his shoulders slumping slightly as he leaned against the bench, and just like that, a profound connection was forged between these two men from different generations, united by a common thread of grief and the enduring strength of the human spirit. As the weeks turned into months, the park bench became a silent testament to their unbreakable friendship. The transformation didn't go unnoticed. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers began to take notice of the profound impact their friendship was having on the community. One breezy autumn afternoon, as the leaves were painted in hues of gold and crimson, a group of townspeople gathered around the bench. As the years went by, both George and David continued to cherish their daily ritual at the park bench. Years later, the old wooden bench stood strong, its surface worn smooth by time and weather. So the next time you find yourself in Knoxville, Tennessee, take a stroll down to Riverside Park. And that's our story for today. What did you think? How did it make you feel? Let us know in the comments section.